Hi, so my name is Lexie Lee, and I'm going to be going over the social media dilemma and why is social media such a big deal. So, just a quick introduction, I'm one of the lead counselors here at the Texas Tech University Career Center. I'm currently completing my master's in strategic communication. So, just a brief overview, these are the points that we're going to be going over. So, the research questions, theories, and kind of the whys people use social media and how the internet affects. We're going to tie in social identity and then going over methods and conclusions. So the research questions that are guiding this paper, the topic was chosen because research has kind of shown women or the age range 18 to 25 is researched, but that focuses on both genders, male and female. So I really wanted to focus on just female as a whole. So that kind of is leading these questions. What effects do social media and social media platforms have on these women in that age range? How is the increase in technology mentally and physically affecting users? And then why do people continue to invest in ad social media if they've had these negative interactions? So the beauty of communication theories is kind of their adaptability over the changing course of technology and their ability to intertwine and support each other. So we'll go into a little bit more detail of these theories that are listed on the screen. So the first theory is the uses and gratifications theory. So it was first introduced in the 40s and it focused more on print and magazines, radios. So kind of think old technology. In the 70s, when it was kind of evolutionized by the individuals on the screen, it definitely focused more on the outcomes of media use. And so there are 5 assumptions or factors that come into play on this theory. You can see they're listed above. But just to give a summary of that is people are posting for a purpose and they want to make sure that it's beneficial for them and trying to see what can I do to media, not what can media do for me, essentially. The next theory that we're going to go over is the media dependency theory. So in the 70s, it was defined as a systematic approach to the study of effects of mass media on audiences and the interactions between media and audiences. And so you can see on that lower part, the main focus and why it's adaptable to this theory is the relationship between media and audiences. Again, you can see from those research questions, we want to get to know the whys. Why are people posting or continuing to invest in social media? People view relationships with content and media as mutually beneficial, right? Am I getting something out of this? What can it do for me? So this definitely plays a role of how people view media today. And then the last theory is the mixed attributes theory. So this one goes into a little bit more of that context as to what media is and defining it. The effects, social media, media as a whole, those are really broad terms and can mean a few different things. And so this approach actually combines theories and research to not only new technology, but to traditional research as well. People haven't changed too much, but their access and ability has definitely changed over the years. And with media being as broad and complex as it is, you can see that it's viewed as a multi-dimensional aspect. So the attributes are, as you can see, only limited by what can be identified. So the limit does not exist is what kind of comes into mind. And I think that is relevant or prevalent to effects and how that affects people. And then lastly, it looks at that precedent that has been set. So again, really pulling in that past research aspect. So what is social media? So I believe if you use social media, you have kind of an understanding, but the formal definition is it's a computer-based technology program to where you can facilitate sharing virtually. So on that second bullet point, you can see sharing content can be personal information, documents, videos, or photos. I think users are aware that social media is kind of running their lives, but just to put it into perspective of how many people actually utilize social media, 3.6 billion users currently use social media. In 2025, that number is going to be 4.45 billion users. And there isn't a decline. There has just been an increase and it's continuously increasing. So just to set some perspective for you, in 1997, only 14% of the world used the internet. Now, granted, in the 90s is when it was really revolutionized and becoming more of an easy access aspect. But in 2014, 87% of the world used the internet. Now, even just those few short years ago, that number is probably closer to 90 because users are continuously adding and getting younger when they're using social media. So why do people use social media? So as you can see, there's quite a few different aspects to gather news, but the first and foremost is they want to feel connected, joining people who share their same opinions or thoughts, creating communities. That second to last bullet point. So definitely relaxation and dissociation has always been an aspect of technology or media, but how that's prevalent today is, for example, binge watching on Netflix, really that dissociation aspect. And then really just to drive it home is that positive affirmation. People want to feel hyped up on social media or supported. And so that is one of the main driving factors. Now, not everything is positive. So there are negative effects. And as you can see, there's cognitive, affective, and behavioral. So think about people's attitudes towards things. How does that tangibly affect the users? You can see that second aspect, body dissatisfaction or body dysmorphia, a decline in a mood shift in or perception and comparison. Research shows in 2015 that 52%, there was a 52% increase in mental and physical health effects. So that can be depression, anxiety, something as drastic and horrid as an eating disorder. So just to switch gears a little bit, not everything is negative, like I said. As you can see on the graphs, there's a bunch of really great aspects as to why these women use social media. But first and foremost, those interpersonal connections or relationships. Confidence, right? You're able to fully talk about or express yourself or create ideas, and that generates happiness. And lastly, you can gain a perspective. So getting new information, gathering all of that. Is really exciting and in a really positive aspect. So social media is relevant no matter where we're at, including the professionalism and the professional world. So professional or career identity is thinking about the business or showcasing those personal experience. It's definitely going to be a more formal communication style and maybe be a little bit more open so people can see their networks. Now, personal communication is less formal, so think texting maybe a little bit more honest or opinionated. And what people need to realize is nothing is truly private or deleted. So making sure that you're not posting on one personal or professional because they do intertwine, and making sure that you are putting your words match you as a person, your beliefs, your values, and everything. So my last main point in this paper is the internet isn't real. People are creating these facades and these fake perceptions. Now, it's not to say that's not their real life, but they're creating highlight reels. They're not giving the full context as to what is actually going on in their lives. So users need to be aware of that. Now, the internet has actually created these parasocial relationships. So these are relationships that are strictly kind of, I don't want to say made up is the word, but in your mind, you may be DMing this person on a social media platform and feel like they're your friend and or acquaintance, when in fact, we've never met this individual. That's not to say it can't change to something, but this is definitely what we've created in our mind. And that can lead to social identity. So again, we're creating these relationships, perceptions, and we want to make sure that social identity is who this person is online. It's ingrained in their how they talk, what they post. So for example, influencers or content creators, to make sure they're lining up with their social identity. If a content creator typically reviews plus size clothing and they partner with a brand that only goes up to a large, that is against their social identity, and what they've been talking about is important to them. Now, since this is such complex areas and topics, we used the mixed methods approach. So that goes into quantitative and qualitative research to answer these questions. So how was that gathered? That will be through interviews, surveys, and groups and peer focus groups. So in conclusion, there are negative and positive effects to social media. Now, to what extent, that's kind of where the limitation comes in. People need to be mindful that there is reactions to media and they need to find a balance of using the two. So use your resources that you have. For example, I know Instagram allows blocking profiles, hiding comments and likes so that you're not being driven by those worldly things. Real life happens offline. Make sure you have that full clear picture and don't let the number of likes define you as a person. I just want to say thank you so much for listening and have a great day.